Hello again and welcome to the TryPod, and this week we will preview round 14.
Lego!
Lego! Yep, and welcome everybody to another week of the TryPod, and obviously off a great week last week, going 2-0 with the Rabbits keeping the Titans under 20 points, and the Knights toppling our 2.5 over try bet, getting 4 tries over there in New Zealand. We've just actually finished recording the NBA pod, and it's a good one. You should all hop on the Facebook page. The Dropbox link is out there now. Give that a listen. We've got an excellent best bet and some good angles for the playoffs.
Yeah.
How are you, Sakib?
Good, thanks, mate. Yeah, if you like NBA or you just like money, check out that pod. We gave out more best bets. It's been a good week. Been a tough week for yourself, mate. Obviously, Mrs. has gone back to her homeland, back to the States. How's she doing? You heard from her? She's
doing well, yep. She didn't think she was going to make the flight. They only had an hour and 20 minutes to get from international terminal to domestic terminal in LA. But she doesn't look like a terrorist like me, so she did make it in time.
Have you Skyped her, or?
Haven't Skyped yet, no.
Oh, yeah, got to save your
got a few Snapchats.
Internet, I suppose.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, how many, are you on a download limit on your internet? You have good internet?
50 gig off peak, 50 gig on peak.
50 gigs. So how do you ration it when Ken's is away?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough.
You got a system or something? You can't
Obviously,
be wasting
doing a
every
lot.
kilobyte counts when. Yeah.
It does. No system.
Right, we'll leave it. Won't go any further into that. But you're right, it was a good week. Got back on track. Said in the previous pod.
Obviously, he's talking about streaming live sports.
Yeah, that's it. Because I know that my data, I go over. Data's a killer.
Yeah, do you go over monthly?
I spend more money on my bloody phone bill than I do on betting.
Oh no.
Yeah, and that's.
Is that just swiping right? Takes a little
a
megabyte every time.
I swipe left and right.
Do you ever swipe left?
Not really. 2-0 last week. Haven't lost in our last 7 best bets. We're running hot. We're not going to stop now. It's an awesome round. We've got a few best plays. But let's look back at last week. I'll start off with Friday night football. Definitely the Eels surprised a few people.
They did.
Didn't really surprise us because we said that the Eels were an underrated side with a bit of talent. And of course I wasn't surprised when Matt Moylan and Jamie Soward went down. I think there was a real opportunity. And the Eels probably played their best game of the season. Sandow kicked every goal. He was bloody Jonathan Thurston in disguise, I said. Just a fat Jonathan Thurston out there. And I'm not going to take much away from the Panthers. I didn't have a play on the game, but I've spoken about this before in previous pods. I've looked ahead. On certain sites you can bet future rounds, and I looked ahead for value, and the Panthers, I've been saying, are a team that's going to come into their own when they get guys back. And I've got money on Panthers in about 4 of their next 5 games, and I got really good prices. So I sat back on Friday night, and all I really...
You were fat and happy,
I
weren't you?
literally said to myself, I don't care what happens. If they win, they build momentum. If they lose, they'll be even more hungry. As long as no good players get hurt.
Oh, no.
And it was probably, I don't know, half an hour in, Moylan gets hurt, hurts his ankle. They're saying Moylan's down, and I mean, it just keeps happening.
You know what's going to happen? He'll be healthy as soon as all those bets, future bets that you have
So then,
run out.
of course, I'm reading stories about Moylan on Saturday, and it's, Moylan could be out for up to 6 weeks, and I'm like, Jesus, 6 weeks is exactly the length of time that I've got on my bets on, and then I check, update on Moylan injury. Injury worse than first predicted. It's usually always that they say, it's not as bad once they've done the scans, but this is actually worse. But so that's, going to hurt the Panthers. Definitely going to set them back and probably put a nail into some of my best bets.
Just on another note, speaking of future round bets, you have been making a few of those, and they've capped your limit now, haven't they? You're just making too much money.
They're onto me. Yeah, pretty much shutting me out, Ladbrokes. But if you've got Ladbrokes, definitely worth looking into because things can change in the NRL and key players get injured, key players get picked for Origin. It changes future odds, but they don't always update them as quickly. You can make good money, and we'll guide you. And actually, we've got a best bet for round 15. In this pod. We'll give later in the show.
Yeah, and you guys won't have that trouble. You'll have a little bit more of a limit than $2, like our friend Jacob here does. But anyway, I'm going to have to eat a little bit of humble pie here. The Broncos are rolling. They're a lot better than what we expected they would be. We did both predict them to be in the top 8 at the start of the season, but we did say they'd be sort of towards the bottom end of that. But they just are finding a way to win, and it's just unbelievable against a full strength Raiders side down there in Canberra. I know that was a pick'em game, but they really turned up to that one and won that game quite comfortably, and that's with their Origin stars backing up. Obviously, the week before they had a good win with all their Origin players out, and they're really looking better than I think both of us predicted at the start of the season.
That's a typical game that the Broncos of old had really no right to win. We said the same thing on the Monday night game against the Knights, and they had 6 players play Origin. Hodges and Thaiday didn't back up, didn't make the trip to Canberra, so 4 guys backing up from Origin and 2 out. And you're right, I mean, I think it was 10 all, 12 all at half-time with the Raiders with the ball threatening the line, and then they obviously coughed it up, and Brisbane puts on one of the tries of the season, which
that
really...
could be the try of the season.
Yeah, it really did epitomise what Brisbane's done this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a team playing with confidence and finding ways to win. And just briefly spoke about the Knights Broncos last week. I mean, can we take a trick, mate? We give a great best bet. We give Knights to score more than 3 tries, and they're up 18-6 at home. They've got, Gidley playing. They've got Roberts playing. They've got a nearly full-strength team other than Mullen. They're playing a Brisbane team missing 6 stars, and they scored a grand total of 0 tries in the next 55 minutes.
They didn't have Gidley Puff playing in those last 60 minutes, but even so,
we still believed in the Knights. We didn't give up on them. There's too much talent there. We almost wanted to play them against New Zealand, but we just couldn't with the uncertainty of a couple of players. Before the New Zealand game on the weekend, they scratched Cade Snowden, Jeremy Smith and Kurt Gidley. They're 3 players that have played at international level. They're already missing Mullen. So they were really lambs to the slaughter in Auckland, playing a fully strength, full-rested New Zealand team, and they were about 14-point underdogs by the time the game closed, and they were down 10-0 after 10 minutes. And they came back and scored 4 tries in that game, which is good for us because we had Knights over 2.5, not knowing half the team was going to get scratched. So I shouldn't complain too much. But, I mean, how are you supposed to bet on rugby league when a team that has no hope like that can put on 4 tries, but they couldn't score one more against Brisbane? But I've got to say, if that Knights team can show that kind of heart, nobody is looking at the Knights as a good team right now. They've only won 1 in about their last 7 games, maybe even 1 in their last 9. But that team quietly, when they get the stars back, especially Jared Mullen, that could be a real contender that can make some noise for sure. Yeah,
I agree, and that's a team everyone's sort of forgotten about, the Knights, but we'll be looking to make some money on them in coming weeks. The Roosters, how about them on Monday night? Absolutely smoked the Storm, I know, without Billy Slater, but even so, they're really... I think they've set themselves as the premiership favourites. Now they're just starting to get a roll on. I think they're sitting at... what are they sitting at? 7 and 6 maybe. Just perfectly poised for a good run to make the top 4, I think. But obviously, I think a few people forgot about the Roosters. They had a bad run at the start of the season, but they are going to keep rolling, and mark my words, they will easily be in the top 4 come the end of the season.
Yeah, look, you're absolutely right. And we played the Roosters to beat the Storm. It was the best bet.
Yep.
Only problem was, it was about 5 weeks ago. And, of course, they lost that 1 by 1, but no such trouble this time around. We didn't play them. It was nearly a best bet for you. We nearly laid the points with the Roosters, but we thought...
We were really close to doing that,
We just didn't want to go against a fully healthy Storm. It turned out Slater didn't back up from Origin. But, yeah, I'm with you. And who was the Roosters' best player in the first 3 rounds? It was Blake Ferguson.
Yep.
And he's back next round as well. Not this round, but he's scheduled back next round. So I agree that team is going to start to pick up pace.
The problem was that we looked at that earlier in the week, and I think it was on a Monday or a Tuesday, and we saw the line was 3.5, and we said, great, let's play it. And then by the time the pod rolled around, I think the line was already at 5.5 or 6, and then the value was already gone, so we passed on it.
Still liked the side, but when there's not as much value, we might not give it out as a best bet, and that's by being selective. That's how we keep our winning percentage so high.
Yep.
Now, before we jump into round 14, we got to talk about DCE. It's all over the news.
Oh, no.
The backflip. It's certainly not good news for Gold Coast fans. It's
Triple
great news for
backflip
Manly.
with somersault twist.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's sad to see. It's affected other players. It's affected teams. You hate to see it happen. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolute guff, isn't it? I mean, he's left the Titans high and dry in this situation. I mean, they've spent the last... How long has this saga been going on for? Months now.
Yeah. We mentioned it in our season preview.
Yeah, and I mean, the Titans have put off, looking for anyone else in their halves and, obviously thinking they're getting Cherry. And, I mean, he's come out publicly and said, yep, I'm going to honour my contract. It's just ridiculous. They can't have this stuff going on mid-season. There's got to be a better way to do it. And I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know what your thoughts are, but... why can't they just have an off-season trade, a couple months or something in the off-season where all the trades have to happen and then there's no mid-season trades, that happen during the season. It's just a distraction to the players. It makes the fans angry, obviously. And then the Titans are just massive losers in all of this. Nate Miles is gone now, so they got a lot of money to spend, but no one to spend it on.
Yeah, and it's every year this argument comes up, and this has really come to the forefront here. But every year you've got scenarios where a player signs with another team for the following season, and let's look at Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Now, if I'm a Roosters fan, every time I watch RTS carve up and burn 3 players for a try, am I happy or unhappy? I can't celebrate because it's going to be killing me inside to say that are such a prodigal talent.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you on that one. That such a precocious, ferocious, braggadocious talent is leaving my team. And I've thought about it myself, and I've follow a lot of different sports, and thought, is there a better way? And I don't have the answer for you. I think one of the problems rugby league has is it is such a brutal sport, such a high injury toll, and a toll on the body, and a high number of injuries that are suffered, that you can't wait until the off-season to negotiate your contract. Because if you blow your knee out in September and you haven't signed a contract for the following season, you can lose your livelihood. And I think that's why guys are trying to negotiate their deal for next year in April and in March. And you can't take away a player's right to do that. But it's just really unfortunate because if they sign with another team, then that team knows they're leaving. And then there's outs and stuff, and there's strange clauses in the collective bargaining agreement that allows players to change their mind, and that creates even more uncertainty. And I think they've got to tighten those kind of rules up.
It just seems so sketchy to me, and I think he came out and made a statement today, and he said, obviously there wasn't an offer on the table when I first took that contract with the Titans. And he said he only got a contract on the table from Manly in the last 48 hours, essentially. But surely he's got to have known before that. That is absolute Guffrington Stanley, I reckon.
And you wonder if there's a little bit of dirty pool going on too, because apparently he's really good friends with Nate Miles, who's obviously the captain of the Titans, and he was moving to the Titans, and then Nate Miles went and signed with Manly, and people were saying, is Nate Miles getting in DCE's ear saying, hang on, I'm coming to Manly, you should stay.
Well, there's got to be something else going on. He says it's because of, for family reasons, blah, 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 but he said he was going to Gold Coast initially for family reasons anyway, because I think his parents live there. Now he's saying he's going to stay in Manly for family reasons. It all seems a little bit sus. Not a fan of it. They've got to do something about it. I just don't know what.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. If you've got an idea, hit us up. We can talk about it on the pod as well.
Yep.
And we've spoke about DCE. He's not playing this week. He's still suffering from a shoulder injury. But the Seagulls are actually in Brisbane on Friday night. You want to give us the numbers on this game?
Yep. Broncos hosting Manly. Broncos laying 8 points, and the total sitting at 41.5 to 43.
And you've got some strong thoughts. You've talked me into a best bet in this game, so why don't I let you kick this one off?
Yeah, so I kicked it off. Obviously, Cherry Evans missing from the lineup, but you do have Foran in there, obviously, a plus for the goal kicking. You've got, Lyon in there, a plus for the goal kicking. You've got Foran in there. And I really wanted to take, there was a Manly plus 8.5 out there. I really wanted to take Manly plus 8.5. I think they're going to, with all the off-field drama, I think they're going to show up, and I think everyone's just riding a bit too high on the Broncos at the moment. They're starting to forget that all the forwards that were in Origin, they've got to be tired now, but they've won the last 2 games, so people have sort of forgotten about that. I think there's value to be had in Manly. But then you did mention that we should look at the Brisbane team total under the 26.5, and I do tend to like that better. I think that this could turn into a defensive grind, and I think that I'd prefer to have Brisbane under 26.5 rather than Manly plus 8.5.
Yeah, so my first instinct when I looked at this game was that I don't like Manly. I've said all year I don't think there's too much value on Manly. They're a bit depleted. Cherry Evans is out. Lawrence and Starling are out in the front row. Some of their back rowers like Jamie Buhrer are out. So they're not at full strength, and I didn't love them even when they were at full strength. And this Brisbane team, I can respect that. We can talk about, are they a little overconfident, are they riding too high, but I think they're just very confident and just finding ways to win, and they're just riding a wave right now. And I kind of look at this game and say, yeah, Brisbane wins this game. But we got to look at the numbers. The total seems a bit high. You said 43. I've seen 43.5. That's quite a high total for two kind of defensive teams. And with Brisbane being an 8.5 point favourite, that's leading to a total of Brisbane scoring around a win of around 26 to 18. Yep. And I don't think Brisbane's getting over 26. So I think the beauty of taking Brisbane under 26.5 is that Brisbane could still easily win the game, but you could easily win your bet. Yep. And if Manly's going to have any shot of winning this, they've got to keep Brisbane under that total. So I love that one. That's a good best bet.
We'll make that a best bet. So take Brisbane under the team total 26.5. Next up, we got the Tigers hosting the Titans. The Tigers laying 3.5 points and the total sitting at 40.5 to 41.
And this is a bit clumsy, but I had one other good point on Brisbane. Corey Parker's out. He's one of their best players, so you like going against him there. He's also the goal kicker. That means they're going to have their second goal kicker kicking. You're playing them under 26.5. They don't have good goal kicking. They're going to need at least 5 tries. That's why I like that one even more.
So they've got the reserve of the worst goal kicker in the comp.
Exactly right, which you can't argue with that. And I like this game too. I like the Tigers. Very disappointing result at home to put up a goose egg against the Cowboys. And we were on the Tigers there and it burnt us. But we were also on the Knights last week and we kept the faith and we won it back. And that's what we're going to do here too, I think. Because the Gold Coast is shot, especially without Greg Bird, and especially with the Daily Cherry Evans news. Things are going from bad to worse at that club. You wonder if any players are going to turn on Nate Miles with him leaving the club and with him potentially causing Cherry to not come. The Tigers, they've got a pretty healthy team now. I know Farah's obviously out, but they've still got guys like Tedesco, Jacobs, Brooks. They've got Marty Capel in the back row. Did I say Aaron Woods and Keith Galloway? Beastly front rowers. It's actually quite a talented team. If they have any shot at making the finals, you've got to find a way to win here. I think the line's quite cheap at -3.5. We played Gold Coast against the Tigers in the opening round of the season, and we caught 6.5 with the Gold Coast, and that was on the Gold Coast. Now it's down in Sydney, and it's down to 3.5. So something doesn't quite add up.
Yep.
I think it's a little low. So I'm happy to lay a low number like 3.5 points with the Tigers.
Yep. And I tend to agree. And when I initially saw this, I was sort of so about it. But then I actually, had a bit more of a read through the lineups. And look, the Tigers do have the much better lineup here, the much better roster. Plus, they're at home. I think 3.5 is cheap. I think, the Gold Coast, the off-field drama is going to hurt them a little bit as well. And I think this, it's just too cheap of a line to take. I think this closes either 4 or above. So take this early, take the Tigers -3.5, and I'm happy to make that another best bet. Next up, we got the Knights hosting the Raiders. Knights laying 1.5 points, and the total sitting at 42.5, 43.
Stay away written all over it here. If anything, I think I'd be leaning to the Raiders. They've really got to win this game. They're full strength. They've thrown a couple away. They should be winning this against the depleted Knights. But I'm not going to go against the Knights because I think they're a lot better than people realise. And you're not going to make money betting against teams that are underrated. So the odds are probably pretty right, leaving that one alone.
I think so too. I don't think we'll spend too much time on this. I tend to think that if I had to lean aside, I would lean Newcastle. I think they're still a little bit underrated. They showed a lot of guts last week. But then Canberra coming off a loss to the to a depleted Broncos side. I think this is definitely a stay away. We'll leave that alone. Got to know when to stay away. We got last one of the first 4 first four matches, and we've got the Rabbits hosting the Warriors. Rabbits laying 3.5 points, and the total sitting at 40-41.
And something important to consider with this one is that, yes, the Rabbitohs are hosting it on paper, but of course it's being played in Perth. And our very own Westy will be at the game.
Yep.
He should give us some hot tips for that one. This is a tough one.
Live blogging.
Yeah, hopefully we can. Westy's got his eye on the AFL, gave us a couple of AFL winners, which we were happy to take on board last week. But he knows his stuff about footy as well. So, yeah, as you said, this is the longest possible road trip, or really more plane trip for the Warriors to go all the way from Auckland to Perth. That's tough. You got to factor that in. But they're pretty healthy. They've snuck home against the Knights. They're a decent side. South Sydney's still missing Reynolds and Glenn Stewart, so they're not fully healthy, but they're a very good team too. They deserve to be short favourites here. I feel like it's going to be a pretty good game. I can't pick a side that I love, so I'm staying away from this one too.
Yeah, and I tend to agree there. And you're right, thanks for pointing that out, because a lot of people would look at these, and we've said this before, a lot of people look at these games at neutral venues and just see the side that comes up first and just assume that side's at home. And you'd look at that on paper and say, South Sydney at home laying 3.5 points, that is cheap, and just automatically take it. And that's why I think it's a little risky, because as you mentioned in previous pods, there are a lot of mug punters out there that will do that and just take it at face value and say, South's at home laying, less than 4 points. Let's lay that. So you probably are getting a little less value on Souths there. But yeah, look, neutral venue game, South slightly better roster, but once again missing a few key players. So I think this line sits right about right. South Sydney with a slightly better roster and a neutral venue, 3.5 points seems about right to me. So I'm happy to stay away from that one.
Yeah, and we've got to go to an ad break, but after the break we want to talk about put your tips where your mouth is, as well as a couple other things. But why not start with speaking about it now? Because one of our challengers, for the first time we've got a challenger from across the ditch. His name's Jimbo. He goes by the alias of King James, and he's actually taking the Warriors in this game. He feels, I don't know if it's just patriotism or
who knows,
if it's he's got a sharp edge there. But he likes the Warriors in this game. He's taken them at $2.20, so keep your eye out for that one. He's also, if you listen to the NBA pod or you haven't yet, check it out. But he's gone for a bit of a long odds shot. I think he's taking the Cleveland Cavaliers to lead. Sorry, the Golden State Warriors to lead at halftime, but the Cavaliers to get the chocolates in game one. That's at $7, so he wants the
big odds.
The road underdog to be down at halftime and come find a way to win. So
for the knockout blow.
Pretty unlikely, but $7 odds offering on a Friday. That would be a great start to his weekend. And he's also gone with his hometown Canterbury Crusaders at $3.10 to win by 13 or more against the Auckland Blues. And we've seen a lot of sharp money has come for Crusaders today, so you can't argue with that bet either.
He's got that at $3.10, and that's I think that's been bet down to about $2.65. So
yeah,
you've got a good line there.
That's in the Super Rugby, of course. He is a Kiwi at heart, well, a true Kiwi born and bred. Our second challenger, and this guy was handpicked by BMOS, who of course was the champ last week, and this is Ryan Halloran, the Rhino, or as some of the girls say to him, Ryan, no! And he's gone with West Coast Eagles 1-39 at $2.45. Should be a tight game, so I think he's got a fair chance of winning that one. He's also taking the Cavaliers on Friday, so if the Cavaliers are to get up, especially if they're down early, we could have two players cashing bets, but he's got a different bet. He's taking them to win by 1-10, which I think is quite a smart bet too, because I don't think they'll win, but if they do, it'll definitely be close. So $3.92 is worth a shot. And he's got a real kind of flyer. I've heard a few of the boys are going to the races at Doomben on the weekend. And in the Stradbroke handicap, he's taking Boban at $11 for the win. He has not gone each way. He's not gone for the place. He's gone on the nose, not tarping up, that's for sure. And the champ, last but not least, he's talked a big game and he's absolutely lived up to it so far. He's going with Lord of the Sky in race 8 at Doomben. Think that's the same race, in fact.
Yep.
The Stradbroke handicap. That's $4.20 just to place, so that's even pretty juicy odds.
That is juicy.
For a horse just to come in the top 3. He's taking his very own beloved Geelong Cats, -1.5. That's a first quarter bet. So watch out for that one. I think that's on Saturday. Essendon Geelong. Geelong to win the first quarter by 2 or more. That's at $1.90. And he also likes the Crows to win by 40 or more against Carlton. And we saw Carlton were obliterated by Sydney last weekend. They're in dire straits at the moment. I think the Crows are actually a pretty decent side from what I've seen in the AFL too, so I like that one. So I think we've got a lot of sharp plays this week.
Yep. Make sure you get involved too, obviously.
Yeah, let us know. You want to play? What do you think of the picks? It's been an awesome competition. I've heard some interesting facts. Here's an interesting fact for you. Every single week in Put Your Tip Where Your Mouth Is, the person who was nominated by the champ, the challenger nominated by the champ, went on to win.
Interesting
one. Yeah.
And then you got another stat for me?
How did you know? I think every single defending champ has actually come last the following week. So, you know...
think, and we talk about that in betting all the time, a little bit of overconfidence coming off a big win, all the value gets sucked out. So, yeah. Oh, well.
So it'll be interesting to see if anything
see if BMOS can break the trend.
Or will it get sucked out of BMOS as well? We'll find out.
So make sure you get involved with the Put Your Tip Where Your Mouth Is, obviously an exciting new comp, and we'll see if we can have our first carryover champion, and see if we can also have our first international winner with the King James over the ditch in New Zealand.
Now, just time to pay some bills and hear from our sponsor.
Bodies are made in the winter. Find F Sanity on Instagram today and train F Sane or stay the same.
Yeah, summer bodies are made in the winter. How was your pizza capers tonight, bro?
Delicious.
Yeah, we got the pulled pork.
Yep.
Evan's joining us, actually, still here. He was here in the NBA pod. What did you think of that Supreme and pork NATO pizza?
Oh, yeah, it was a good one, actually.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called, the pork NATO?
Yeah, the pork NATO. Recommend it, pulled pork. Buy one, get one free. Both have found a voucher, so...
Pork NATO.
Good night.
Sounds sexual.
Had by all.
Anyway.
Before we jump into the remaining 4 games... If you're listening to us right now, we appreciate that. We obviously offer the pod on Dropbox and also on YouTube. Some people find YouTube easier. I've had people ask me about the number of views we've been getting on YouTube. Seems to be pretty consistent, almost like it's not growing every week. But I actually think it's a bit misleading. It depends. I mean, we get about 10 cents per view on YouTube.
Yep.
So we like it when people watch it or listen on YouTube because we make a bit of money, but it's really not very much money at this stage. We know we're still growing, so we're happy to do it for free. And we actually prefer if people listen on Dropbox because for a number of reasons. I think it's more user friendly.
Yeah,
you can get it straight away. It's much easier for us to upload. You can download it onto your phone, so you can download it when you've got Wi-Fi, save data. When we spoke about how important data is earlier in the show. Yeah,
absolutely. And you're running out of data on your on-peak time or in your peak period. You download that stuff late. You download the pod late at night on your off-peak. It doesn't take up your data in your most used time of the day. You save that on your phone. You listen to that on the drive to work. You listen to it on the drive back. And you can place a bet. Well, obviously not whilst driving, but you can place a bet while you're listening to it because... the music still plays when you close the app, which YouTube, for some reason, multi-billion-dollar company hasn't figured out how to do.
Yeah, we can put a man on the moon, but I can't play YouTube and surf Facebook at the same time.
It's just silly.
And I've got a short attention span. I like to be able to play an audio and also still surf the internet or do what I want to do. Or check the betting markets while I'm listening to a betting pod.
Yep.
So we do recommend you get on Dropbox because it takes us a bit longer. It's not easy to get things up on YouTube. We've got to convert it to MP4. I mean, well, you can tell us how difficult it can be.
I don't even want to talk about it.
My computer was broken down in the shop last week, and I had to ask Alex to step up and upload the pod. And Alex misunderstood me and thought that I'd asked him to invent YouTube by the sounds of how difficult he made it sound.
I failed. So I'd say definitely I recommend listening to it on Dropbox. And as we've seen before, we are always, well, not always, but mostly we're on the sharp side, and we do see some big line moves after the pod is released. So you want to be able to get in, listen to the pod straight away, be listening to it on Dropbox, hear a good bet, open your betting app, bam, bet at the same time, and all that time you're listening to our lovely voices. So.
Yeah, actually, you made a really good point. I'm glad you reminded me of that. I think it's fair to say that half of our best bets, nearly half our best bets, the line will not be the same by Friday. We are finding value, and other people are seeing it too. And if you're waiting for the YouTube release and the YouTube link, you might be getting it 24 to 48 hours after we've recorded it, and sometimes those numbers aren't there. We want as many of our fans to jump on these bets as possible.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, I've seen, and it's encouraging actually, because I think we get somewhere between 60 to 80 people listening to the YouTube every week, but I like to think that every week more people are getting Dropbox. It's easy.
Yep.
It's a free app. Download it on your phone, takes a minute, and you can get the pod earlier. You can enjoy it better. So if we've got...
And then if you download it, you can listen to it again, come Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday nights when there's some more NRL on and you may have forgotten the best bets because you've got it there downloaded on your phone. You can skip forward to wherever you want, skip 5 minutes and see how you go.
Yeah, skipping 5 is definitely an advantage, can save you a lot of time. But if our numbers on YouTube are staying the same every week and we're recruiting more Dropbox listeners every week, then that's good. We're growing the following, and with good reason. We're giving people something back.
People what they want.
Gotta give them something back. All right, and back into the games, mate. What we got next?
Back into the games. Next up, we got the Panthers hosting the Storm. Panthers getting 2.5 points, and the total game score sitting right around 40.
And every week before the pod, we discuss between ourselves what we're going to make best bets. And you wanted to talk me into the Storm. Do you want to explain why?
Did I want to talk you into the Storm? Yeah, true. I can't remember that. I think I actually liked the Panthers, but anyway, then I thought to myself, nah, the Storm are still rolling. So yeah, it's a stay away game for me. Obviously, the line seems about right to me. Panthers coming off a disappointing loss last week, and so are the Storm. And I know the Storm are a team that we said we'd like to sort of take advantage of later in the season when all the tired bodies and State of Origin catches up to them. But I don't think it's quite this week. Obviously, both teams coming off a disappointing loss, which is never good from a betting perspective. So I think this is one of the ones that I think I'm going to stay away from.
Yeah, and your exact text was Storm off an embarrassing loss, Slater back, Moylan out, laying small points. And you're right.
Yeah, true.
And this is actually one of the games I've already got my money on Penrith, and I bet this weeks ago, and I think I got Penrith at about $2.70, which is still good odds. But geez, I thought they'd be healthier here, so I'm spewing because it's the worst scenario really. They've lost Moylan, and they're playing a Melbourne team that's smarting off a loss to Sydney, and that's pretty much fully healthy. Slater should be back.
Yep.
So you're right. Melbourne almost looks to be the sharp side. Anytime you get a good team that's off an embarrassing loss, and we spoke about how dominant the Roosters were, the stats showed it was even more of a smashing than 24-2.
Yeah.
I think the Roosters the Roosters ran up 2,000 metres in that game to the Storm about 1,000. So that's ridiculous. That's an absolute shellacking.
It should have been higher than that.
But Penrith still is a really good team. This isn't a good spot for them, missing Moylan. But we've also got injured player theory, and that is when a team loses their superstar, they will actually lift the next week. Everyone will go to bet against them because they've lost the last game, they've lost their star, but actually everyone else rises. And that's my one remaining hope in this game. You got a good line. I believe in Penrith, and I think they'll give themselves a chance in this game. But you're right, Melbourne probably rebounds off the Roosters game and probably has the edge in the attacking weapons that they've got, especially without Moylan. Geez, that one hurts.
Yeah.
So I'm staying away from this one.
Yeah, and you're right with the injured player theory. But at the same time, Monday night you've got Melbourne coming off a very, very embarrassing loss. So, they'll be wanting to show up this week as well.
Well, I'm not staying away from this one. I've got plenty on it, but I'm not giving it out as a best bet. I'm just going to...
you don't see any value at the moment. You saw value
to the sun on my own.
10 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So moving on, we got the Sharkies hosting the Roosters. Sharks getting 8 points and the over-under sitting at right around 40 again.
And this is a rematch of a game that we definitely got right. Must have been 7 or 8 weeks ago now.
Yeah,
and the Sharkies were over $5 underdogs and catching 14 points and winless. And
that was when we got our very first comment on the on the page, I
Was
think.
it? Yeah, how times have changed. I think tonight, one of our posts had 2 comments.
Yep.
So, we're going gangbusters.
Moving on up in the world.
Yeah, and Cronulla's improved a little bit since then. This time, they're at home. That week that we took Cronulla was the week we went 7-0. And that was a good week, and that did kickstart our campaign. Paul Gallen's meant to be back, and he'll really want to put in a good performance to prove himself for Origin. And you're getting 8 points with a Cronulla team that we rate and that I think can really make noise in the finals. But do you want to get out in front of this Roosters team?
Nope.
They're just too good. They're really good. They're so good defensively. They've got RTS, awesome halves. Maloney still has to feel he's a chance for Origin if they do look at tweaking anything, so he's going to be up for a big game. Tupou, definitely. He had a good game on Monday night after a disappointing Origin. So many weapons in that back line. The back row is full of Origin players. It's just such a good team top to bottom. So I'm leaving it alone because I think the odds are pretty close to fair.
Yep. You're spot on the money, and you said it all there. 2 teams, and we hate going against a team that we like. And we like both of these teams. We still think, the Roosters are still slightly underrated. Maybe not from last week, but certainly from the year that they've had so far, going 6-6 over the first 12 rounds. So this is a stay away from us. Next up, and you did mention some Origin stars. We've got the same thing happening here. We got the Bulldogs hosting the St George Illawarra Dragons, and the line sitting at -1.5. Canterbury laying 1.5 points. And the total game score sitting at 40-42.
And I give myself another pat on the back here because I had St George in my 8, and not many people did this year, but I saw this team had a lot of potential, some awesome forwards. Trent Merrin only got, I think, 18 minutes of playing time in Origin 1. He was smarting.
Yeah.
He really wanted to have a huge game, and I think he might be the best lock forward in the comp. Tyson Frizzell was extremely unlucky not to get an Origin jersey. He's just absolutely beasting T Frizzle. Dugan, he a monster though. He's the best fullback in the comp.
Yep.
Benji's revitalised, rejuvenated. Widdop's quality and doesn't miss goals. It's a really quality team. They're the real deal, but so are Canterbury. So I see a really high quality game. We've spoken before about how St George do not concede a lot of points. Canterbury, I think you've made the point to me earlier in the week that the halves, Hodgkinson trying to keep his Origin place, and Reynolds maybe trying to prove himself. They're going to want to play Origin-style, mistake-free, controlling footy. They're still missing Brett Morris and Tim Laffey, the Dogs, and that's good if you're looking the way we are, which is towards the under. I see a real arm wrestle of a game. I see the game, both teams in the teens, and the total is actually just a hook over 40.
I think it's come down a little bit since we looked this morning, and 40.5 is the best we can find at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm still happy to play under 40.5. Grab it while you can. It's going to go down, I think, when the Sharps get behind this one. But yeah, can't so much look to a side. Should be an awesome game. Should be tight, but should be low scoring. So That's another best bet. Yeah,
and I tend to agree. And Canterbury traditionally is known as a low scoring team, so you're not getting an awful lot of value there. But St George, on the other hand, are known, high-flying, high-scoring team from the past, and this year they've been a dead nut under team. Least points scored, least points conceded, and this total just seems a little bit too high for me. And yeah, you're right. As we spoke about earlier in the week, some Origin players, coming back for Canterbury. Hodgkinson trying to steer it around the park, show that he's, deserves his jersey in Origin. And I think we're going to see a really, really low-scoring, tight grind fest in this game, and I don't see this total going over 40.5 at all. This is probably my favourite best bet of the week. Take the total under 40.5 for the Bulldogs up against the Dragons. Last game, Monday night, we got the Eels hosting the Cowboys. We got the Eels getting 6 points and the over-under sitting at 41.5 to 42.
And I think every week, when we look at the Cowboys, all I can think about is JT conjuring those 7 points in 3 minutes to win that game. And I think I heard the Cows are on a 9-game winning streak. If they win this one, they can have their longest ever winning streak in the club's history. It's unbelievable where they've came from, staring down the barrel of 0-4 to start the season. So you don't really want to get out in front of a team like that. JT, still the best. Lachlan Coote's playing awesome. Obviously, Michael Morgan getting an Origin jersey. Taumalolo back from the knee injury, and he's just hustling and bustling every week. It's a really quality side. But down in Western Sydney with Parramatta, they're a side that's on the up and they're a side that's a little underrated. And I don't really want to lay a try or a converted try with the roadside here either. So I'm happy to stay away from this one.
Yeah, and Para coming off a big win last week on Friday night, obviously with the max amount of rest, getting the full 10 days in before this Monday night clash. And they'll get a lot of confidence from that win. And I know that was one that they really, really needed. I know they're sort of fighting for the wooden spoon, I guess, but this is one that they'll want to get up for at home as well. Big confidence coming off their win against Penrith last week. But the Cowboys, geez, yeah, I mean, 6 points. You may look at this and say it seems cheap from the Cowboys side, but I think Para's going to come into this game with a lot of confidence, so I'm happy to stay away as well.
Yeah, I think North Queensland will find a way to win this one. If anything, that's the side I'm looking. We've given out 3 best bets this week, but I've got a fourth one for you. I've got a bonus best bet. So this is another look-ahead bet. And you can get look-ahead lines on Sportsbet and Ladbrokes. So if you've got those apps, you've got to have a look at this one. I found a good one. Now, the Origin teams will be named for Game 2. They'll be named after this match, or probably around the day of this match on Monday night. And it's not going to be any surprise that the Melbourne Storm are going to have those same 4 players that all had exceptional games in Origin 1. Slater, Cronk, Smith and Will Chambers. Now next week we've got the Parramatta Eels hosting the Storm. So on paper it looks like an obvious win. You've got the bottom of the ladder Para against top of the ladder Storm. But it's not the same game with those 4 players missing. In fact, I think Parramatta's got to be favoured in that game. Parramatta might have Hopewadi in the Origin game. If not him, no one. And there's no guarantee that he'll make the Origin team either. Now, that line was up around 4.5 earlier in the season, and I played it at 4.5. You can still get plus 2.5 with the Parramatta Eels on Ladbrokes, and it's already come down to a pick'em on Sportsbet. Now, by the time that game kicks off, Parramatta will be the favourites. This is one of those games where I'm not telling you I love the side as much as I'm telling you it's wrong by about 6 points, so grab it. I told you the same thing with the Tigers to grab minus 1.5 a couple of weeks ago. It closed 7.5 and it lost, and that's sometimes that's the way it goes. But if you grab value more often than not, you're gonna win, and that's what the pod does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what you should do. Look to play Parramatta plus 2.5 in round 14 against the Storm. They're gonna, if they can't win that, they can't win anything. They're getting the wooden spoon. That's all they'll win this season if they can't win that one. So that's a bonus bet for you.
Keeping the people happy.
Got to give them what they want.
Yeah. All right, so we'll recap our best bets for the round. We've got Brisbane up against Manly. Take the Brisbane team total under 26.5. Next up, we got the Tigers laying 3.5 points against the Titans. Then we've got, hold on a second here, we've got the Canterbury St George team total game score to go under 40.5. And a bonus best bet for all you people out there listening. Hop on this early. We got the Eels plus 2.5 hosting the Storm next week.
That's it. Good luck. Like we said, we're riding hot, so let's keep it going.
Ride the hot hand.
And yeah, that should just about wrap it up for us this week. We've previewed Tip Where Your Mouth Is. Get involved. It's exciting. Should be fun. Mixed picks. If you're listening to the pod, Mixed Picks is probably in the comments of this one.
Yep.
So have a look at that one. He's due.
I'm sure there'll be some good ones from Doomben. I think he'll be... Is he going to be attending that?
Yeah, I'm certain he will be. He'll be there cheering him home.
Yep.
He's Anne Frank for a win.
Oh, he is. He is. He went, what, 3 from...
He went 3 from 3 last week.
Yeah, 3 from 3 and
then... You
don't
count the final 2.
Yeah.
But no, it's going to come, and you don't want to miss out. You don't want to not bet it the one week that it wins. And
Could be this week.
Could be
this
this
week. The week.
Let's hope. So look forward to that one. Yeah, we've got some great plays. You haven't listened to our NBA pod, check it out as well. Get the Dropbox app. Check out F-Sanity. Check out James King Art. Any other plugs?
That'll do it.
That'll do it. Brisbane Backpackers.
Check them out.
But please.
Most importantly, please.